Rumors have a strange way of traveling through space. They move quietly, slipping between radio signals, old cargo ships, and lonely travelers who have no one to talk to except the stars. For months, a single rumor has been spreading like a slow-growing shadow. Humanity is building something dangerous, something enormous, something meant to end more than just a war. People only know it by a whispered name, Project HFY. Most people don't believe the rumor at first. Why would humanity destroy its own colonies? Why would the central authority, which claims to protect peace, secretly create a warship powerful enough to erase an entire world? But fear has a way of making even unbelievable things feel real. And when fear touches enough people, it becomes a story, a frightening story, that refuses to die. Across distant outposts, miners working deep under frozen moons hear it in radio channels that suddenly go quiet when they join. Traders carrying food and fuel between abandoned stations hear it in half-told conversations from strangers with shaking hands. Even pirates, who fear nothing, begin avoiding certain travel routes, as if something invisible waits there in the dark. And then there is Commander Lyra Vance. Lyra used to be one of the best strategists in humanity's main fleet. Her mind could predict battles before they happened. She could read numbers, patterns, and decisions in a way that made other officers call her the woman who sees tomorrow. But she left the fleet years ago after refusing to follow an order that would have killed thousands of innocent people. The central authority called her a traitor, and she chose exile over becoming part of something she no longer believed in. She now lives in a quiet outpost on a dusty moon, far from human politics. The air smells of metal and recycled oxygen, and the sky is always dark except for a faint red sun that never warms anything. Lyra works repairing broken machines, guiding lost travelers, and pretending she no longer cares about the world she left behind. But she cares. She always has. The first time she hears the rumor of Project HFY, she laughs a little. It sounds like another wild story created by bored space pilots. But then she hears it again, and each time, the details become sharper, clearer, harder to ignore. She begins noticing other things too, little things most people would overlook but not her. Supply ships carrying rare minerals disappear without explanation. Factories that once built harmless exploration drones suddenly shut down without warning. Military communications, which Lyra can still secretly access, show strange patterns, codes that signal a major operation, movement orders that lead nowhere, silence in places where there should be activity. Lyra's instincts start whispering to her, just like the rumors do. Something is wrong, something is coming. One night, unable to sleep, she sits near her small window and watches a cargo ship drift across the sky. She remembers her time in the fleet, the powerful engines, the noise of constant orders, the feeling of knowing that every decision she made could save or destroy lives. She had left all that behind, or at least she tried to. But the whispers of Project HFY refuse to fade. When Lyra finally decides to investigate, it isn't because she wants to be a hero. It's because she knows the central authority too well. They never waste resources. They never build anything without a purpose. And if they are hiding something this large, this secret, then the purpose cannot be good. She begins gathering information quietly, pretending she is just fixing equipment or running errands. She asks small questions that seem harmless. Have you heard anything strange on the channels lately? Did any new ships pass your route? Did any of your stations get shut down suddenly? The answers she receives are always similar. People don't know much, but they are scared. One mechanic from a nearby asteroid colony tells her about a shipment of metal that was taken without explanation. Another pilot mentions seeing a massive shadow near a restricted zone, a shadow bigger than any ship he had ever seen. A communications officer shows Lyra a broken recording containing only static and one whispered line. It's real. It's coming. With each new detail, Lyra's uneasiness grows heavier. She prints maps, studies star routes, and uses old code she memorized years ago to access military databases. Most of the files are locked under extreme security levels, but even the little she sees is enough to confirm her worst fear. Humanity is building something massive, something that requires enough energy to power a small planet, something protected by soldiers who have orders to shoot first and never ask questions, something designed for one thing: total destruction. Lyra remembers the day she left the fleet, the anger in her commander's voice when she refused the order. One day he told her, "You will understand that fear keeps people obedient. Peace is built on control." She had always hated that sentence. Now, as she looks at the growing evidence, she finally understands what he meant, and how far the central authority is willing to go. Weeks pass. The rumors grow louder, stronger, more detailed. People begin leaving their homes, moving deeper into hidden territories. Markets become empty. Travel lanes grow silent. It feels as if the entire galaxy is holding its breath, waiting for something terrible to appear. One evening, while studying a cluster of old military documents, Lyra suddenly freezes. A pattern emerges, a pattern she had seen before, long ago, during wartime. The movement of certain supply ships, the silence in certain zones, the sudden extraction of rare minerals, they all match a specific operation code. Total Planetary Suppression. It was a code meant to erase entire rebel worlds. Lyra stares at the screen for a long time. Her heartbeat feels slow and heavy, like a drum echoing inside her chest. She knows what this means. The Central Authority is not preparing to defend themselves. They are preparing to attack. Not enemies. Not invaders. Their own people. Project HFY isn't a rumor anymore. It is real. And whatever it is almost finished. The next morning, Lyra walks through the outpost's dusty market streets. People seem quieter than usual. A group of traders whisper in the corner, their faces pale. A mother rushes her child inside their home the moment a strange ship passes overhead. The atmosphere feels thick with dread, like a storm waiting to break. Lyra realizes she cannot stay silent. She cannot pretend the danger won't reach this small moon. She gathers a few trusted friends and tells them everything she has learned. Some don't believe her. Some are terrified. Some beg her to leave it alone, to stay safe, to forget the past. But Lyra knows she cannot forget, because if Project HFY is unleashed, no place will be safe. Not this moon. Not the colonies. Not the outer settlements. Nothing will survive. She returns to her quarters, opens her old military locker, and pulls out the one thing she promised never to use again, her fleet badge. Cold, heavy, and sharp-edged, it feels like a piece of the life she abandoned, but now it also feels like a reminder of what she must do. Lyra takes a deep breath. She doesn't know exactly what the warship is, what it looks like, or when it will strike, but she knows this. If no one stops it, the galaxy will burn. And so, with renewed purpose, she begins her mission not to fight a war, but to uncover the terrifying truth before there are no survivors left to hear it. The first real sign that the rumor is true arrives quietly. Almost too quietly. A small colony on the outer edge of known space suddenly goes silent. No distress call, no final message, not even a broken signal. One day people are living their normal lives there, mining resources, teaching children, growing food in glass domes, and the next day, everything is gone, completely gone. At first, other colonies think it must be a communication failure. Maybe a storm damaged their equipment. Maybe a power core exploded. But then someone finds something: an old scout drone drifting near the colony's orbit. The drone is half burned, its memory badly damaged, but it contains a few seconds of video. Those few seconds change everything. The footage shows a shadow, huge and dark, blocking the colony's sun. Not a planet, not an asteroid, a machine, a ship so large that it looks like a floating mountain made of metal. Its surface glows with strange patterns, lines of heat, energy, and something far beyond ordinary technology. The drone records just long enough to capture the moment when a stream of white-hot light erupts from beneath the ship, heading straight toward the colony. Then the recording cuts off. When Lyra Vance sees the footage, her breath catches. It is exactly what she feared. The Central Authority has completed Project HFY. The warship is real. People begin panicking across the sector. Some try to flee to safer territories, packing their lives into tiny ships. Others lock themselves inside underground shelters. But many simply do not know what to do. No one has seen a ship like this before. No one knows how to fight it, or how fast it moves, or how many worlds it plans to destroy. Information spreads fast, and with it comes fear. But Lyra knows fear is not enough. Fear does not stop warships. Fear does not save lives. She needs answers, and she needs a plan. So she decides to gather a team, people who have reasons to stand up against the Central Authority. People as desperate as she is, people with nothing left to lose. Her first contact is Yalan Rook, a former engineer who once worked on secret fleet designs. Yalan used to admire the Central Authority, believing they protected humanity. But when his home station was forced into military production and his family disappeared during an inspection, he realized the truth. Now he lives in hiding, drinking too much and pretending he is not broken inside. But when Lyra shows him the drone footage, his expression changes instantly. He stares at the shadow of the warship for a long time, then whispers, "This technology, it shouldn't exist." He agrees to join her. Next, Lyra travels to a mining settlement carved into a rocky moon, where she meets Mara, a skilled pilot known for flying through asteroid fields without a scratch. Mara's brother was taken by Central Authority soldiers years ago and never returned. She has been looking for answers ever since. And when Lyra tells her about the warship, Mara doesn't hesitate. "If that thing is coming," she says, "I'm not hiding. I'm fighting." Lyra's third recruit is not someone she expected to meet again. Torn Hale, a soldier she once trained with. He left the fleet after witnessing something horrible, a secret operation where the authority destroyed an entire unarmed settlement to maintain order. Torin carries the guilt of that day everywhere he goes. He agrees to join Lyra because he believes this warship is the final step in the authorities' plan. He refuses to be part of ever again. The team is small, but they are determined. And their determination grows when a new message arrives from a faraway outpost. The warship has moved again. This time, the destruction is faster, cleaner, no debris, no survivors. The warship simply appears, fires a silent beam of light, and leaves behind nothing but scorched land and drifting ashes. People begin calling it the Incinerator, a name that spreads like wildfire. Lyra gathers her team inside. an abandoned cargo hangar to study the footage from the attacks. The warship is enormous, shaped like a triangular fortress with wings that stretch across kilometers. Its engines glow with a frightening energy, something not found in any known ship. The weapons seem to melt entire landscapes. Every detail they uncover makes the truth clearer. This ship was not built for war. It was built for extermination. Jale and examines the footage frame by frame. This heat signature, he mutters, pointing at the glowing lines on the warship's hull. It's an experimental power source. It's unstable, dangerous. They must have refined the design I once saw years ago. Can it be destroyed? Lyra asks. Jale and has. Every machine can be destroyed. The real question is how many lives it will take before we figure out the way. Mara clenches her jaw. We don't have time for fear. But Yalon is right. The warship is nearly unstoppable. Its armor is thick enough to survive direct hits from missiles. Its shields absorb energy like water soaking into cloth. And its size means it can carry thousands of soldiers, automated security drones, and AI systems capable of predicting enemy movements before they even happen. Still, Lyra refuses to give up. She lays out the plan. They will track the warship's path, find patterns in its movements, identify its weakness, and strike at the one place where no one else has dared to go: the warship's core, the heart of its power. But finding the core will not be easy. The Central Authority is hiding all information about the ship. Every digital file relating to Project Ashfall is locked behind firewalls, encrypted with military codes Lyra hasn't seen in years. Breaking through them is dangerous. If she gets caught, the entire team will be hunted not just by soldiers, but by the warship itself. Despite the risk, Lyra begins hacking into old fleet networks, using secret access codes she never turned in after leaving the fleet. The system tries to block her again and again, but she keeps pushing until finally one file opens. It is short, only a few lines of text, but those few lines confirm that the warship is powered by an experimental core capable of generating extraordinary energy. The technology is unstable, meaning that if the core is damaged, the entire ship could collapse. It's vulnerable, Lyra says quietly. Torin shakes his head. If we go after the core, we're dead. Maybe, Lyra replies. But if we don't go after it, everyone is dead. Her words cut through the room, heavy and real. Over the next few days, the team observes a pattern in the warship's attacks. It hits colonies that have resisted the Central Authority. Any world that refuses to follow orders becomes a target. The warship does not negotiate. It does not warn. It does not leave anyone alive. One night, while mapping the warship's flight path, Mara notices something. A gap, a repeated shift in its patrol pattern. Every time the warship moves between two sectors, it slows down just slightly. That small slowdown might be a maintenance cycle, a moment when its defenses are weaker. Lyra feels hope for the first time. They spend hours discussing possibilities. Could they get close enough to infiltrate the warship during this slowdown? Could they sneak inside without being detected? Could they reach the core before the ship detects them? None of them know the answers. But they do know one thing: someone has to try. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, fear becomes desperation. Refugees flee from world to world. Parents cover their children's eyes when news screens show burning skies. Leaders send out messages begging for help, but no help comes. The Central Authority's silence is louder than any threat. People begin saying that humanity has turned against itself, that the greatest danger does not come from alien worlds or unknown monsters, but from the very empire that promised to protect them. That as the warship continues its silent, deadly journey, Lyra and her team prepare for their most dangerous mission, a mission that could either save millions or end their lives in an instant. But none of them step back, because now they have seen the truth with their own eyes. The warship is coming, and if they do nothing, there will be no survivors. Only ashes. The decision to stop the warship is made, but deciding is always easier than acting. For days, Lyra and her small team sit inside their hidden base, staring at maps, star routes, energy scans, and every tiny clue they can gather. The warship's pattern is slowly becoming clear, but the truth is terrifying. The warship is moving faster, attacking more places, leaving fewer traces behind. Its destruction is becoming cleaner, more efficient, almost perfect. It means the warship is learning, and that means time is running out. Lyra studies the wall of information for hours at a time. She barely sleeps. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees the image of the shadows swallowing entire colonies. She knows the Central Authority is preparing something even larger, something final. She can feel it the way she used to feel an incoming attack during her fleet years. Instincts never leave a soldier like her. One night, while everyone else is sleeping, she stands alone at the window of the old hangar they are using as a base. Outside, the stars seem cold and distant, quiet witnesses to the fear spreading through every human settlement. She asks herself the question she has been avoiding for weeks. Can we really do this? The warship is enormous, unstoppable, heavily guarded. A few people with small ships and stolen equipment have almost no chance. But then she remembers the silent colonies, the erased worlds, the children whose homes turn to dust. If she does nothing, they will be the first of many. So she tells herself the same thing she once told her younger soldiers. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else matters more. The next morning, the team gathers around a holographic map. Mara, the pilot, highlights a flight path. This is the gap I noticed earlier. It happens exactly every 12 hours. The warship slows down, but only for 60 seconds. Yalon frowns. 60 seconds to get into range. That's insane. Taron crosses his arms. We've done crazier things. Yalon sighs. Yes, but those crazier things did not involve sneaking into a giant death machine. The tension is rising. Fear mixes with determination. They all know they need a perfect plan, not a desperate one. Lyra speaks carefully. We're not trying to destroy it from the outside. That won't work. We need to get inside. We need to reach the core. Silence falls. The core is deep inside the ship, protected by heavy armor, AI security, automated drones, and elite soldiers. Getting inside is almost impossible. Reaching the core is even more impossible. But Lyra continues talking, her voice steady. Humans built the warship. That means humans built doors, access ports, ventilation shafts, weak points. We find one of them, slip inside, and make our way to the core during the maintenance window. Torin nods slowly. Even if we get in, the security systems will recognize us instantly. Not if we hide in plain sight, Lyra replies. She opens a hidden crate containing armored suits from her old fleet. They are old models, but the warship AI might not scan them as threats immediately. It's a small advantage, but sometimes even small advantages can save lives. Mara leans over the map. And what happens when we reach the core? How do we destroy it? Yolan opens a new diagram, one he has been working on secretly. It shows a small device built from scavenged parts, dangerous uranium cells, and unstable energy coils. This, he says, voice shaking slightly, is a destabilizer bomb. If we place it directly on the core, the unstable energy source inside the warship will overload. The ship will collapse from within. One explosion will destroy everything. Mara's eyes widened. Everything, including us. Yolan nods silently. Lyra already knew this. She felt the truth before Yolan even said it. Getting in is one thing. Escaping is another. None of them want to die, but the mission may demand exactly that. Torin finally breaks the silence. If we don't do it, millions more die, and no one else is coming to save them. Everyone understands. They do not need more words. They begin preparing, while Yolan sharpens the design of the destabilizer bomb. Mara practices flying through asteroid fields and narrow canyons, pushing herself to the limit. Taron runs combat drills, teaching the others how to fight elite soldiers with minimal weapons. Lyra studies every detail of the warship layout, mentally mapping paths, imagining every corridor and every possible trap. During this time, something unexpected happens. The team becomes closer. They share old stories, funny ones, painful ones, memories from before the warship appeared and changed everything. They laugh sometimes. They argue. They comfort each other. They become a real team, not just a group of scared individuals. But as their bond grows stronger, so does the weight of the mission. One evening, Yalan approaches Lyra quietly. He looks tired, his hands trembling from hours of work. I need to tell you something, he says. The bomb, it might not just destroy the ship. It could create an energy wave. If we're too close, we won't even have time to feel anything. Lyra nods. I know you're still going through with it. We have no choice. Yalan looks at her with sadness. You always carry everything alone, but you don't have to. Not this time. Lyra doesn't answer. She has spent her entire life taking responsibility when no one else would. This mission is no different. A few days later, a message arrives from a refugee group fleeing a destroyed world. They report seeing the warship heading towards Sector 9, the most populated outer sector. Billions of people live there. The warship won't just destroy small colonies anymore. It's preparing for a massive strike. The team realizes they have no more time left. They must leave now or live with the regret of watching entire worlds fall. They gather in the hangar for the final briefing. Mara attaches the destabilizer to a secure container. Taran checks weapons and armor. Yalan seals the old fleet suits. Lyra activates the stolen access codes one last time. Her voice is calm, but her eyes are serious. This is the turning point. After today, we can't go back. If we fail, humanity is finished. If we succeed, we might not survive, but billions will. Mara tries to lighten the mood. If we die, at least we do it in style. Torin smirks. Speak for yourself. I fight, I don't pose. Yalan gives a weak laugh. I just hope the bomb doesn't blow up in the ship. Despite the jokes, each of them knows the truth. They are risking everything. The moment they board Mara's ship, the tension becomes real. The engines hum softly as she guides them through dark, silent space. The stars look calm, but the air inside the ship is thick with fear and determination. Hours pass. Then the warship appears in the distance. Even though they have seen it in videos, nothing prepares them for the sight. It is huge, its black metal surface reflecting cold light. It moves like a living creature, slow but terrifying. Every inch of it feels deadly, Mara whispers. There goes nothing. She flies the small ship toward the warship, timing every movement to match the slowdown window. Lyra watches the clocks, the scanners, the heat signatures. Everything must be perfect. 10 seconds left. 9.8. The warship's engines flicker. Its maintenance cycle begins now. Lyra shouts. Mara pushes the ship forward full speed. They rush toward the giant metal monster, straight into its shadow, hoping its sensors don't detect them. One wrong move, and they will be vaporized. But they make it. The ship enters the maintenance gap 60 seconds, where the warship's outer shields are weaker. Mara guides the ship to a small access port. Torin opens it with a stolen code. Lyra leads the way. They step inside. The air is cold. The lights glow red. The halls feel endless, like the inside of a mechanical beast. And for the first time, Lyra realizes something. This is not just a machine. It feels alive, and it knows they are here. Asterisk. The moment Lyra, Mara, Torin, and Yalan step into the warship, the door seals behind them with a loud metallic thud. The sound echoes down the long corridor like a warning. The air inside is colder than anything they expected, almost as if the ship itself is alive and breathing frost. The walls are dark metal, shaped with strange patterns that glow faintly, like veins carrying energy through a giant body. For a few seconds, no one moves. They all feel the same thing. This ship is watching them. A low hum fills the corridor, steady and deep. It feels like the heartbeat of the warship. Toron grips his weapon tightly. Mara adjusts her breathing. Yolan stares at the glowing lines on the walls. Lyra steps forward first, keeping her voice steady. We stay together, quiet, and we move fast. They begin walking down the corridor. Their footsteps make soft metallic clinks that seem too loud in this place. Every corner feels dangerous. Every dark passage looks like it might suddenly open to reveal soldiers or drones. But for the first few minutes, the ship stays silent. Jalen studies the energy lines. These patterns, they're new. They weren't part of the old fleet designs. This is artificial intelligence level engineering. Meaning, Mara whispers. Meaning the ship doesn't need humans to run it, he replies slowly. It can think. It can react. Lyra nods. Then it already knows we're here. The corridor leads them into a larger chamber filled with floating platforms and bright beams of light that move like slow rivers. The platforms shift positions constantly, like a moving maze. It is beautiful in a strange, threatening way. We have to cross this, Mara asks. Yes, Lyra says. She studies the patterns. The beams shift every 5 seconds. We have to jump between platforms exactly on time. One wrong jump means falling into the glowing pit below. No one knows what is down there, but the heat rising from it warns them not to find out. They time their movements. 5 seconds jump. 5 more seconds. Jump again. The platforms slide under their feet. Torin almost slips once, but Mara grabs his arm, pulling him back just in time. When they finally reach the other side, everyone's heartbeat is racing, but they don't get a moment to rest. A sudden sound breaks the silence, sharp, mechanical. Fast. Drones. Small metal machines fly out from hidden slots in the ceiling. Their eyes glow red. Their wings buzz like angry insects. Torin fires first, hitting one drone perfectly. Yalan throws a small EMP device that explodes in a flash of blue light, disabling 3 drones instantly. But more arrive, dozens. The air fills with flashing lights and sharp metal wings. Lyra shouts, "Keep moving." She leads them down another corridor while firing at the drones behind them. Mara knocks one out of the air with a kick. Torin blasts several more, but the drones are fast and relentless. Asterisk. They run until they reach a security door that needs a code. Lyra quickly types in one of her stolen fleet codes. The door opens just enough for them to slip inside. She slams the panel, and the door shuts right as a drone crashes against it from the other side. The sudden quiet feels almost unreal, but they know this is only the beginning inside the new chamber. Giant cables hang from the ceiling like roots of a metal tree. Bright lights flicker overhead. Lyra looks around, noticing the shape of the room. She has seen designs like this before. This is a control hub, she says. We should be close to the inner levels. Yolan steps closer to the cables. He touches one gently. These lines carry power from the core. It means we're near the heart of the ship. Torin takes a deep breath. Then let's keep moving before something else tries to kill us. But they don't get far. The room lights suddenly shift from white to deep red. A cold, emotionless voice echoes through the chamber. Unauthorized entry detected. Intruders identified. Termination protocol activated. Mara mutters under her breath. Of course. Why not? The floor vibrates. Panels open. And this time, instead of drones, soldiers, Apatol armored, with glowing visors and powerful rifles, the Central Authority's elite guard. Torin steps forward. I'll hold them off. Asterisk. No. Lyra grabs his arm. We need everyone. We run, but Torin shakes his head. If we don't slow them down, no one reaches the core. Go. I'll meet you when I can. Lyra wants to argue, but the soldiers are closing in. She knows Toran is right. He gives her one last look, one that says he has no regrets. Go, he shouts. Lyra forces herself to turn away. She grabs Mara and Yalan, pulling them through the next door. As the door seals behind them, they hear blaster fire, metal clashing, shouts, and then silence. Mara wipes her eyes. We'll get him back, right? Lyra doesn't answer. She can't. They continue deeper into the ship. The halls become darker. The air becomes hotter. The glowing patterns on the walls pulse faster, as if the warship senses danger near its heart. Finally, they reach a massive doorway made of thick armored metal. The energy behind it is so strong that the air itself seems to vibrate. The core chamber, Yalan whispers. Lyra steps forward and places her hand on the panel. Her old fleet code still works, though the panel flickers as if resisting. The door opens slowly, revealing the most terrifying and beautiful sight any of them have ever seen. The core *, it is enormous. Suspended in the air by powerful magnetic fields, streams of white-hot energy flow around it like rivers of light. The core pulses like a living heart, each pulse sending waves of heat through the chamber. Mara breathes out softly, awe and fear mixing in her voice. How do we even get close to that? Yalan opens the container holding the carefully, very carefully. They step onto narrow metal bridges that cross the chamber. Each step feels dangerous. The heat is intense. The energy fields hum loudly, vibrating the entire room. Suddenly alarms blare. The AI voice returns, colder than ever. Core chamber breach detected. Maximum security activated. Metal barriers rise. Energy shields spark to life. Drones pour from the walls. Lyra fires desperately. Mara covers Yalan as he runs forward with the bomb. The chamber shakes from the intensity of the battle. A drone nearly hits Yalan. Lyra dives forward, pushing him out of the way. The blast scorches her arm, but she doesn't stop. She shouts, "Place the bomb." Yalan reaches the center platform just inches from the core. He activates the destabilizer. The device begins humming, glowing bright blue. "We have 60 seconds, he yells, but at that moment, a large armored drone, twice the size of the others, rises from below. Its cannon charges. Mara screams, "Move!" Lyra fires non-stop at the giant drone. Mara jumps across a platform and kicks its sensor, distracting it. Yalan finishes securing the bomb, but the chamber is shaking violently. Energy arcs across the air. Heat burns their skin. "We need to leave," Yalan cries, but Lyra knows the truth the second she sees the control panel. The warship's emergency lockdown system has sealed the exits. There is no escape path. Not in 60 seconds. Not ever. She turns to Yalan and Mara. "You two go," she says. Yalan is confused. "Go where? We're trapped." "No," Lyra whispers. "There's a maintenance lift on the right side. It only carries 2 people. I saw it on the schematic." Mara stares at her. "And you?" Lyra doesn't answer. She steps back toward the core, firing at drones that swarm toward them. "You have to live," she says. "This story has to reach someone. Tell them what happened here." Mara shakes her head, tears in her eyes. "We stay together." "No," Lyra says calmly. "You stay alive." She pushes them toward the lift. Yalan tries to resist, but Mara pulls him inside. The lift door closes with a hard slam. Lyra stands alone on the bridge, surrounded by heat, blinding energy, and endless drones. Her heart is steady, her breathing calm. She stares at the glowing bomb that will end the warship. 10 seconds left. She whispers softly, "Let this be the last monster humanity ever builds." And then the core explodes in a burst of light so bright it swallows everything. After the warship exploded and the sky lit up with a giant silent flash, people across many star systems stood frozen, watching the bright light slowly fade. Nobody spoke for the first few minutes. It was as if the whole universe had stopped to breathe. Everyone knew what that explosion meant. The incinerator, the most feared warship ever created by humanity, was finally gone. And with it, the endless fear that had spread like a shadow over every colony. Many had prayed for this moment, but when it finally came, the victory felt heavy, almost painful, because they all knew it was not a victory earned without loss. Word spread fast. Screens across the colonies replayed the explosion, showing the giant burning cloud breaking apart. In every home, every station, every small mining hut, people watched and felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. Some cried with happiness. Others cried because their loved ones had fought in the resistance and would never return. For them, the destruction of the warship was a reminder of sacrifice, especially the sacrifice of Commander Lyra Vance. Her name began to appear everywhere on news broadcasts, in discussions, in the whispers of people in crowded markets. Children asked their parents who she was. Adults spoke softly about her bravery, their voices filled with respect. Everyone understood one thing. She had stayed behind to make sure the warship would be destroyed, knowing she would not survive. The resistance members who did survive felt the weight of Lyra's loss deeply. They had fought beside her, argued with her, trusted her. Many remembered her calm voice saying they had a choice: either accept a future ruled by fear or fight for freedom, even if the cost was high. Now that the fight was over, they struggled to imagine a world without her leadership. Some felt lost, unsure of what to do next. Others believed they had to carry her mission forward, to make sure the galaxy never faced such danger again. Slowly they began to gather, planning how to rebuild what was broken. Across the colonies, normal people tried to rebuild their lives too. For years, they had lived in fear, never knowing when the incinerator might arrive at their world and leave nothing but ashes. Now, they finally felt hope again. Farmers returned to their fields. Traders reopened their small shops. Children laughed more freely, running through streets that once felt unsafe. In some places, people held small celebrations. They lit lanterns, sang songs, and shared food. But even in their joy, they remembered the cost. Many left empty chairs at their dinner tables to honor the loved ones who had died in the resistance. Meanwhile, leaders from different planets began meeting. For a long time, humanity's central authority had controlled everything, using power and fear to silence anyone who disagreed. But now, after the fall of the incinerator, those leaders had no choice but to face the truth. They had built a monster. They had allowed fear and control to become more important than human lives. People demanded answers. Crowds gathered peacefully outside government buildings, holding signs and chanting for change. The leaders tried to calm the people, promising investigations, promising justice, promising a new beginning. Some truly meant it. Others spoke only because they feared losing power in the quieter corners of the galaxy, where no government broadcasts reached. Small communities also wondered what the future would look like. Many of them had suffered terribly under the authorities' rules. Now that the warship was gone, they questioned whether humanity could ever be trusted again. Old wounds ran deep, and trust would not be rebuilt in a day. But even in these places, there was a small spark of hope. The destruction of the warship proved that even the strongest machine built for fear could be defeated by courage and unity. Stories about Lyra Vance grew with each passing day. Some people called her the flame of freedom. Others called her the last light. Artists painted murals of her. Writers told her story in simple words so even the youngest child could understand her bravery. But the most powerful stories came from the survivors who had fought beside her. They spoke about her not as a hero from legends, but as a real person, strong, tired, determined, often worried but never giving up. These stories reminded everyone that heroes are not born, they are made through choices, sacrifice, and courage. While people rebuilt their lives, the resistance slowly transformed into something new. They did not want to become another group that controlled people through fear. Instead, they wanted to help planets build fair governments, protect their freedoms, and make sure no leader ever created another warship like the incinerator. Meetings were held in open halls. Decisions were made with transparency. Everyone was invited to speak, even ordinary citizens. This new movement grew stronger each day because it was built on trust, not fear. On one quiet evening, months after the explosion, a group of children stood on a hill, pointing at the sky. They could still see a faint trail of dust where the warship had exploded, slowly fading. One child asked if the warship would ever return. Another answered softly, no, because people like Lyra won't let it happen again. The adult standing behind them smiled sadly. They hoped the child was right. Slowly, the galaxy began to heal. The fear that once wrapped around every planet like chains started to fade. People traveled freely again, visiting friends and family across distant worlds. Scientists who had once been forced to work on destructive technology now chose to research medicine, climate repair, and peaceful exploration. Artists who had hidden their work during the years of strict control now created openly, filling streets and halls with color and music. Still, not everything was perfect. The scars of the past remained. Some planets argued about resources. Some leaders still tried to hold on to old forms of power. But every time a problem grew too big, people remembered what happened when fear ruled humanity. They remembered the incinerator. They remembered Lyra. And that memory was strong enough to guide them toward better choices in time. A new tradition began. Every year, on the same day the incinerator was destroyed, people lit small candles and placed them on windows, tables, and streets. They called it the Day of Light. It was a simple way of honoring everyone who had fought and everyone who had been lost. But it was also a reminder of something deeper, that even in the darkest times, there are always people willing to stand up, to push forward, to risk everything for freedom and hope. As years passed, the galaxy changed. New leaders rose, young and full of ideas. Old systems were rebuilt into fairer, more open structures. People learned to speak up, to question authority, to protect their rights. The resistance continued to work quietly in the background, not as warriors anymore, but as guardians of peace. And in their meeting rooms they kept one empty chair at every table, a symbol of the leader who had made the greatest sacrifice. In the end, the destruction of the incinerator did more than save planets. It changed the hearts of people. It taught them that fear can be powerful, but courage is stronger, that machines can break, but hope can rise again. And it reminded them that sometimes, a single act of bravery can echo through the universe, inspiring generations long after the moment has passed. And so, from the ashes of the warship, a new future slowly rose, one built not on control or destruction, but on unity, freedom, and the belief that humanity could learn from its darkest mistakes.